doing? Leave him alone! What the Get the out of the way! Why are you...
Multiple federal immigration raids taking place in Sacramento County today. Masked Border Patrol agents descending upon a Home Depot on Florin Road in South Sac this morning. According to a social media video posted by U.S. Border Patrol Chief Patrol Agent Gregory Bavina, at least 8 people were arrested for being in the country illegally. He said in the video one was an aggravated felon wanted for charges related to fentanyl trafficking. We also know one man was arrested not for immigration issues, but for what the chief says was impeding and or assaulting a U.S. federal officer. That man is Jose Castillo from Sacramento. Thanks for joining us at 4. I'm Lisa Gonzalez.
And I'm Curtis Meng. Moments after his arrest, Castillo's wife spoke with KCRA, telling us he is a U.S. citizen. KCRA 3's Maricela de la Cruz has been out there since this morning. What does the area look like now?
Well, the area has pretty much already been cleared out just a few minutes ago. Protesters were along Florin Road and this sidewalk. They were protesting against these immigration raids, which have brought a lot of sadness and grief to South Sacramento. And as for Jose Castillo, we're still trying to piece together what happened ahead of his arrest.
What are you doing?
A South Sacramento woman
He's a U.S. citizen!
pleading with federal immigration agents to release her husband during an immigration raid at a Home Depot parking lot in South Sacramento, where multiple people were detained, including 31-year-old Jose Castillo, a Migra Watch volunteer who is documenting the immigration activity. His wife, Andrea, arrived to this location attempting to let federal agents know that her husband is a U.S. citizen.
We never thought that this would be happening. We knew of the fears because of the president and everything that he's been doing, and we know that our people are being targeted. Like, we knew all of that, but we never thought it would be us because we're safe, right? This is America. If you're a U.S. citizen, you're protected by the Constitution. Your rights, you have rights, but clearly you don't.
Agents took Castillo into custody after a brief foot chase in the parking lot where they took him to the ground. In the video that Andrea shared, you can hear one of the agents saying that Jose flattened a tire. Listen to this clip.
He just flattened a tire.
KCRA 3 obtained these images of the tires allegedly slashed. The Border Patrol has not responded to KCRA on Castillo's detention. Chief Patrol Agent Gregory Bavino posted an edited video on X with a clip which appears to be Castillo with his face blurred, saying he was arrested for impeding and or assaulting a U.S. federal officer. KCRA also reached out to NorCal Resist, who says they're looking into the allegation.
As far as our volunteer, Jose, we are absolutely gutted. Again, we train our volunteers in best practices to make sure that they know their rights, they know the rights of the immigrants if they're detained, and that they feel empowered knowing that they have a right to do this and that they're not doing anything unlawful.
And Andrea tells me that she's been tracking her husband's location, which shows him in Stockton, and we were able to confirm that that address is an ICE facility. We're live in South Sacramento. Maricela de la Cruz, KCRA 3 News.
So, Maricela, I know you said it's clear now, but what did the day laborers tell you earlier about how they're feeling?
Yeah, you know, they were out here for a few hours in the morning. They were clearly shaken. Some of them told me that they were in the area when this happened. They ran. They were part of the group who ran and were able to get away. Another one told me that he was driving to this parking lot because this is where he comes every day to try to find a job. And he says that as he was driving by, he saw that ICE activity and just kept driving by. Then he ended up coming just after agents took off, and he told me that some of the people that were taken were some of his friends. And again, throughout the day, we have also seen just a lot of people coming out here showing support. They were protesting out here. Some people even brought some food out here for some of the workers who are still out here. Some vendors selling fruit cups and all of that. So we've just seen overall also a lot of support from the community.
All right, thank you. And two other raids happened earlier this morning, one in the city of Sacramento while the other was in the county. Officials tell us they were looking for a specific person.
Spokesperson for Governor Gavin Newsom sent a statement on today's raid saying, quote, the Border Patrol should do their jobs at the border instead of continuing their tirade statewide of illegal racial profiling and illegal arrests, end of quote.
Well, we've also learned the Department of Justice sent out requests today to several major California counties asking for a list of all inmates in jails who are not U.S. citizens.
KCRA 3's Danica Hill joins us live from the newsroom with which counties are included and how some of our local agencies are responding. Danica, what did they tell you? What did the DOJ say?
Yeah, so far the DOJ has just asked L.A., San Francisco, San Diego, and Riverside County Sheriff's Departments for that information. Now, although Sacramento and other nearby counties are not included in this list for now, I did go ahead and reach out and ask if you do receive this request, would they be prepared to provide that information? We contacted Sacramento, Stanislaus, Yolo, and San Joaquin counties. One spokesperson tells me they would have, if they receive this request, they would have to even look through it to know what steps they would even begin to take. The Sacramento County Sheriff's Office confirms they have not received this request, but tells me most of that information that is being requested is already public. But they did reiterate, per California state law, as a sanctuary state, they cannot cooperate with federal immigration enforcement. Per law, that also goes for state enforcement as well. However, Attorney General Pam Bondi says that the DOJ hopes that California sheriffs will voluntarily produce the requested information, but if necessary, the department will pursue all available means of obtaining that data. Now, this request sent by the DOJ does go beyond just asking for citizenship status of those inmates. They're also asking for the crimes of those inmates, what they were convicted of, and what their scheduled release date is. Now, it is not clear right now if this request will be sent to other counties at this time. Here in the newsroom, Danica Hill, KCRA 3 News.
All right, so you reached out to local lawmakers about what happened today. What are they saying?
Yeah, we've only heard from a few lawmakers so far, but Sacramento Mayor Kevin McCarty did send us a statement that says, in part, these raids are immoral and inhumane. They are intended to instill fear and chaos and cannot be tolerated in our city. Sacramento has been a sanctuary city for over 40 years, and I will continue to protect all its residents. Now, I also did speak with council members Katie Maple and Congressman Ami Bera. I'll have more from them coming up tonight at 5.
All right, Danica, thank you. And we are talking about the Border Patrol. And one question many of our viewers have asked is, can the Border Patrol conduct operations this far north of the border?
KCRA 3's Andrea Flores joins us in studio here to explain. Andrea.
So while raids are often associated with ICE, Border Patrol can arrest people up to 100 miles away from the border or the coastline. So here's a map showing that 100-mile border zone around the country. According to the American Civil Liberties Union, 2/3 of the U.S. population lives within this area. Under the Code of Federal Regulations, the following immigration officers who have successfully completed basic immigration law enforcement training can exercise the power to patrol the border. It includes Border Patrol agents, air and marine agents, special agents, customs and border patrol officers, immigration enforcement agents, supervisor and managerial personnel who are responsible for the officers listed here, and immigration officers who need the authority to arrest undocumented immigrants. While it remains unclear why Border Patrol was conducting one of today's raids opposed to ICE, Sacramento is not out of that Border Patrol's 100-mile jurisdiction. Now, I did reach out to CBP on the federal level, also on the state and the local level, to ask them all about those questions and why they were in Sacramento in the first place. I have yet to hear back.
Well, that's really interesting insight, Andrea. Thank you. Another question brought up the perimeters of the recent federal injunctions pertaining to the immigration raids here in California. Ashley Zavala has been digging into those today, and we're going to hear from her coming up at 4:30.
And of course, we'll have much more on the raids and the reaction we're seeing from the community coming up throughout the newscast. You can also stay updated by downloading the KCRA 3 app.